All right, we're going to do another little reading of comments. So comment response video. And I'll play each clip that somebody commented on so you got context on what they're saying about what. And then I'll respond. Have kind of an unfair advantage here in that I can ramble on as long as I want, but I suppose they technically could too in the comments. And I will try not to make this too adversarial because there's probably something good and helpful in almost all comments. First one by Ramson Javargas, and correct me if I am saying your name wrong. You comment fairly often. Thank you for being someone who frequently watches my videos. He just said, pay close attention to the song. So let's see what he might be talking about. This is Dead Man's Arms, and this is from day 191 of Learning by Jamming, which is my most recent day. 48-second clip here. Okay, so that's that. I think that's great advice, so thank you for that advice. I can definitely admit that sometimes as I'm playing along, I'm not necessarily paying a lot of attention to the song. And yeah, let's just take that one at face value and move on to the next. We have James Labriola, and he said, let's go, almost 200 days. James has been one of the most encouraging and supportive people who has subscribed to my channel and who comments fairly frequently, so thank you, James. That comment was on Georgia, the second video I posted of Georgia, day 191 yesterday. All right, that's it. Cool. We're going to take that one at face value as well. Just a celebratory comment. Congratulations. And keep, sticking with it, which I think is one of the most important things. Thank you, James, again. Let's move on. Dylan Green on Georgia. The first video I posted of Georgia says, please hold your stick correctly. So let's watch that and see what he's talking about there. And I have not watched a single video or lesson or anything about how to hold sticks. I know that there's multiple different methods. Apparently, I'm not using any of them. Let's take a look. Okay, yeah, I would agree that's not one of the standard ways to hold a stick. I even watched a video with, what is his name? Zach Grooves, where he did that grip as a joke in the video. And yet, ironically, I actually find sometimes to get a lot of like looseness in the stick, that it works kind of well. Surprisingly, like I get pretty fast movements with it. It's probably just, I don't know. Anyways, I can see why he said that. So thank you for the advice, Dylan. Weenie Hut Boss said, this one's an interesting one. This is what actually made me want to do this whole video. And I have not watched the one. It's from day 189. I didn't post anything from day 190. Day 190 was so terrible for me that when I looked back at the footage, I just couldn't post anything. I couldn't find anything good enough in it to put on YouTube. And really, I know that, you know, the point of my channel, in my own words, is not to put good drumming content necessarily, but to show a progression from day 0, which I don't have recorded, because I dropped my phone in the lake about 30 days into this project. But from day 30 onward, I have some videos. I think day 30 might have been a fluke, where I liked that so much that I had saved it already outside of my phone when I dropped it in the lake. 'Cause I think it's around day 60 that I really have continuous videos posted. Anyways, the point is to show a progression and not to be good in every video. But this was day 189. Day 190 was terrible. Day 191 was okay. Day 191 happened after several weeks of not playing drums. And here's what he said. If this is really only 6 months into playing drums, it confirms my theory that self-teaching and discovery is the best way of learning skills. So good job, my friend. My only advice to you is to try not to bite off more than you can chew. Just work on getting relaxed while playing, and eventually you'll get to the point where you can basically do anything. The most important thing is being able to play steadily. By then the chops and big fills come naturally. Good luck to you. First of all, let's just point out it's a very intelligently worded comment, which, you know, does mean something. When someone has a bunch of misspellings and poor grammar and everything else, I take their comment a little bit less seriously. So this isn't some guy just, you know, vomiting thoughts through his keyboard onto my channel via a comment. This is a well-structured, well-thought-out comment. And it's always nice to hear, you know, you're doing a great job, and I'm really impressed by where you are after 6 months. I want to qualify that a little bit, because although the number of days should be approximately accurate, it might be off by 10 or 15 in either direction because of that period of time at the very beginning where I wasn't keeping good track. But it's pretty much accurate. I've been playing for approximately 190 days, and it was not over a 6-month time period. It was over a couple of years, because I just am not, I think it's over about 3 years, and that's just because I'm not good at, and haven't been good with, keeping up with it and actually playing every day, which was my goal. I'd say I'm playing 1 out of every 3 to 4 days on average, and it's gotten steadily better and better. Having said that, I'm not sure if, in my opinion, there's probably some positives and some negatives to spreading it over that time period. I don't think it's added up to a significant difference from if I had actually started playing 190 days ago. I think that if I'd only started 6 months ago and I had played every single day, I'd be at approximately the same spot as I am having started 3 years ago and played every 4 days. And I'm going to try not to get too lost in my theory behind that, but I think playing consistently benefits you in some way, because you don't forget things. But I think there's also some benefit to having that time off, kind of like when you're working towards a physical goal like running. You don't want to run every single day. You take off days. And I think that the rest period can benefit you mentally as well as physically. So I think there is something to be said for, you know, I might have had better results in 3 years of on and off progress as opposed to 6 months steady, but I don't think it's that big of a difference. And it's impossible to know because I can't go back in time and start only 6 months ago with no prior experience. But I do want to say that just because it's something that's on my conscience sometimes. Like, I'm presenting this as if I've only played drums for 6 months, and I've actually played drums for a lot longer than that time period, but I've only played them for this many days. So, you know, think of that as you will. This is very complimentary, and obviously that's nice, but I like to take everything with a grain of salt, whether it's you're terrible or you're amazing. I don't think I'm either terrible or amazing. every person is different. It's comparison is not something I'm really interested in. And I think the fact is that it's realistic for this person to be picking up on the fact that I've gotten better on drums. And that's kind of my bottom line. The topic I will always come back to, the statement I will always come back to in talking about this. Whether or not I could have gotten better using a different method is not super important to me. All that this is showing is that I am getting better by playing and learning through jamming. I have seen a couple videos. There were a couple different girls on YouTube who posted videos of them playing after supposedly a shorter time period than this, like 3 months, possibly less than 3 months. I don't really remember the time frame. I remember it was less number of days than I've played, but it may be many, many more hours. I don't know, because I'm measuring in number of times that I've touched the drumsticks, not number of hours that I've spent playing drums. So, they may have been playing for only 90 days, but 6 hours a day. I don't know. I do know that in my opinion, were much better than I am. And, that's in some way maybe because of a difference in that person, but also in a difference in how they are approaching the process. And so, if they're working specifically, one of them was working specifically on learning really cool beats, and I think on inventing some of her own beats. And I thought they were really good. And some of her comments were, "No way have you become this coordinated in just 3 months," or whatever the time frame was. And I'm going to believe that person that she became that coordinated in just 3 months. There's no reason for me to say, no, that's not possible. And like I said, I don't know how many hours a day she's spent. But my point is, I believe, as much as this is a very complimentary and nice comment, that there are people who have learned the drums in certain regards, at least, much faster than I have. And there are people who have done so in a shorter period of time. So I don't know if this is the best way of learning skills, but I appreciate the vote of confidence, and I do think it is a way of learning skills, which some people, in my comments have wanted to say it's not a way of learning skills at all. And I agree more with this. I think the reality is closer to this than it is to that. I will say that, from a psychological standpoint, getting that positive feedback first and then having the advice come after it, really effective way to deliver constructive criticism. Because by the time I got halfway through the comment and he's giving me advice, or she is giving me advice, I'm assuming Weenie Hut Boss is probably a male. But by the time he gets to that point where he's giving me advice, I'm kind of primed to be attentive to it. And that's just, psychological. So anyways, next person, Cody Jr. says, "Man, you were holding your sticks wrong." Sorry, let's go back up and listen to what Weenie Hut Boss. I think that's the whole video, so we're not going to listen to the whole thing. Yeah, it's 24 minutes of me jamming. We won't listen to that. Welcome back. I've been traveling or out of town for like 2. Jump ahead. See where we're at. I'm going to say right there, that's very off, not on tempo. I paused several times, which happens a lot as I'm playing, to try to get back on tempo, to hear the beat, hear the tempo of the song. And I would say in that span of time that we just listened to, I did not get there. So I will say maybe that song has a beat that's a little bit easier to follow. And it's also a song that I heard growing up on classic rock radio stations. So just from a little bit more familiarity with the song itself, probably was able to anticipate things a lot better and find the beat a lot better. But that was a heck of a lot better. We're going to stop there on this one. It just goes to show, like, one thing, one little clip of a whole process is not going to give you an accurate perspective on it. Like, if we'd only watched that first clip, it was terrible. I would say this is not working, which is not completely representative of the reality. But if I only watched the second clip, I'd say, wow, that was pretty darn good. This is working really well, which is also not completely representative of the whole reality. So, and I think there's a lot there for us to remember, especially in a day where it's easier than ever to make snap judgments off of one little thing. Maybe it's not. Maybe it's always been that way. Anyways, let's go ahead, go back to YouTube Studio, and go to the next one. Man, you're holding your sticks wrong. Let's see if it's that same horrible grip. Ooh, this is a longer clip. Am I doing that horrible grip in a longer clip too? What was I thinking when I decided that that 37 seconds was worth putting on YouTube? That was terrible. So if I was going to comment on that video, I wouldn't say, man, you're holding your sticks wrong. I'd say you suck at drumming, which some people have said before, for a reason. As a crew member for Ted Nugent and AC/DC years ago, some small advice for you. Well, he set his credentials right at the beginning. That's from Jarvis Gandy. Some small advice for you: learn some fills that will help you a great deal and count. Drumming is mathematics. Keep that in mind. Stay with it. The best drummers are self-taught. That's another. It wasn't quite a positivity sandwich. It was more like a positivity salad, just all mixed together in there. But appreciated overall, helpful piece of advice. And that was once again on this 24-minute full video of day 189. So let's pick another random. Let's pick another random spot in there. Hope it's good. I would say that was better than the one I actually posted on YouTube as a short. So I don't know what's going on there. We'll go back to about minute 5, see what's going on there. Yeah, you can see my expression. I was like, yeah, I'm lost. So I got lost, and then I went and just reverted to a simpler beat, which is something that now I'm asking myself, because I get a lot of these comments to say, do something simpler, focus on the basics, focus on keeping a steady beat, do a simple beat. And I think that what I end up posting on my shorts, which obviously is a little cross section of the actual playing that I do, um, I'm trying to post primarily things that are a little more exciting than a simple beat, but not so exciting that they just fall apart because I can't, because they're above my exciting level that I'm able to do right now. So I think that what in my mind as I look at it, I'm like, oh, that was pretty good. But, other people are looking at it and saying, actually, you were off beat and you kind of lost the tempo for a minute there, and you just need to do simpler things. And actually, in reality, my practice sessions are kind of me switching between the simple things and then always trying to push it a little bit beyond what I can currently do. And I was just talking with one of my coworkers at the Outdoor Education Center here, who has, studied to to be a professional teacher. And when you're selecting a reading level, when you're selecting books for kids based on their reading level, you're aiming to give them a book that they 70 to 80% understand and is 70 to 80% easy for them, but there's that 20 to 30% that is a struggle because you don't want to give them something that's 100% a struggle or they're just going to disengage and it's going to be too hard, but you don't want to give them something that's 100% easy for them either because then they're not expanding and growing. And then I think, as we become more adults, that slows down for us and we start looking for more like 90, 95% easy and only 5% that's pushing us. And I think, I've maintained, for whatever reason, I've maintained that desire to be at 30 or 40 or 50% struggle and always pushing myself a little harder and a little farther. And if I, this is going to sound a little bit self-flattering or something, but I think that in order to do that, you have to have a fairly high tolerance of failure in yourself. You have to be able to fail and you have to be able to handle that and you have to be able to put it in perspective. And maybe there's a reality where maybe 50% failure rate, 50% it's too hard, it's too much, I'm not quite there yet, and I'm trying to do it, is too much. Maybe I need to back it down a little bit, and maybe I need to take it at that 20 to 30%. But I definitely think that some percentage of going beyond what I can currently do is important because that's where the growth occurs. And it doesn't sound pretty on the way. So that's just something to consider because what looks like failure may be where the growth is happening. And, as you're looking at your own process in life or in learning something, maybe that's something worth considering because we're really, and this is, this has been a struggle as I've gone through this process because we are really focused, especially now, especially with putting everything on YouTube, you know, and putting everything out in front of other people and even the potential to do that. We're really focused on getting likes. We're focused on getting compliments. We're focused on getting positive feedback. And so we want everything to be polished, which is really cool. And as a performer, that can be a really cool thing that you want to do for your audience because you want the audience to enjoy what you're performing. So you want it to be at this certain level and you want to only perform what you know you can perform well for the audience's enjoyment at a concert. But this isn't a concert and the purpose is different than a concert. And my purpose is to communicate that when you start something, you're not going to be good at it right away. When you keep at something, you're going to gradually get better at it. And when it feels messy and it feels difficult, those may be the moments in which you're growing. So anyways, let's keep going. I'm not going to do a whole lot more. We'll get down to here. All right. Now this is a really good point, actually. This is day 88, 188. Hi-hat only. Okay. Some of the best creativity comes when an artist is restricted, but it takes patience and perseverance to break through. Glad the phone was useless. Reminded me I need to practice more, and we all go through this. I had a bit of a laugh to keep at it. So, I love that. This was a video that I posted because I was out on a delivery run doing my self-employment gig, and I was out in the desert in the middle of Nevada, and I had only brought a hi-hat because I knew I didn't have any room for anything else in my vehicle. I actually got lucky because I thought about bringing more, and it turned out I had a shipment that took up the entire van. Like, there's barely room for a hi-hat. I had to fold it down and break it down to get the hi-hat into the vehicle. And so I posted this video where I'm out in the desert and I try to do what I usually do, which is jam, but I was only going to use the hi-hat. And when I tried to jam and I tried to put a speaker on, it didn't work. And so I ended up playing just a hi-hat with nothing else, no music in the background or anything. And it was really, really awkward at first, and it was horrible. And then, 10 minutes in, I started kind of finding a groove that I liked, and it was fun. And I listened to it later, and I was like, actually, that's still terrible. But I got somewhere. Hey guys, welcome back to Drummer Every Day. It's been a little bit, and that's because I've been out driving. So let's try to get to the point where I start playing, trying to use my phone. It's not working. I can't get any signal, can't get any service, can't get any music to pull up. Now, in 190 days, I've never tried using 2 sticks on the hi-hat because I have a full kit and the other stick's doing something else. So this felt so awkward and difficult. Let's try to go a little further. So I think that's that little moment that I kind of liked. And, obviously I'm thinking and already maybe making it too complicated, trying to hit on the pole as well as a hi-hat, which defeats the purpose a little bit of becoming adept and having dexterity just on the hi-hat itself. Already trying to find ways to get different tones besides getting different tones on the hi-hat itself. Not necessarily wrong. I was trying consciously to engage my foot and, have control over the foot instead of just lifting and pressing randomly. And ultimately, trying to play something that I could hear in my mind intentionally in advance and get it to sound something like what I was imagining. So anyways, that was fun. Love that comment. Being restricted truly can bring out so much creativity. Great. Thank you for that comment. That was from Sam Day 6621. Kilo Marshall said, wow, you really are improving. That was comfortably numb. And this was when I played until my phone actually died, which probably had like 10% when I started playing, but here's the phone dying. Oh, okay, 19 seconds. So that's where the phone died. And I will say I was far enough into the session that I had kind of relaxed and like I felt the session went pretty badly up to that point. So I just didn't care that much. And I was just like, okay, just gonna groove out this song. Um, and not even try too hard to make my drumming match the song, which sometimes I think can get really interesting results. When I'm just like, okay, I get it, this is a really spacey, ethereal song, but I'm just gonna go and hit this kind of heavy, stuff. But sometimes that, remix and that like re-energizing of a song that you know really, really well, doing something a little bit incongruous with it can be really cool. So I really kind of liked that clip as well, and the internet seemed to like it a bit too. Andre Bellemare or Andre Bellemeur, I don't know. He said headphones. Cool. And okay, let's see what one that is. That's the 24-minute one. A lot of people watched this and commented on it. Thank you guys. Appreciate you all watching that longer video. Another person said, cool face, rock on, fist bump. And that was to the Comfortably Numb one again. And then here's Run Around. Oh yeah, that one went pretty terribly. Piece of advice, you'll learn faster playing slower and simpler. We'll end on the next one. Okay, he's not wrong. He's not wrong. So that was Tan Lloyd, Taanelloyd. I think he's not wrong, and I think, like I said, there's a piece of the puzzle that nobody has really seen, and that's the other 24 minutes of that jam session where maybe I was playing a lot of things slower and simpler, but then I thought this was something more complex that went fairly well and might get some views, might get some likes, because I do want those things and I do want my channel to grow. But it didn't also particularly fall apart, so I'm gonna go ahead and put this one out there on YouTube. And when I listened to that, I think, yeah, I was definitely pushing the outer edge of what I can do. And I already went through this discussion, so I won't go through it again. But I personally think that's really valuable time. And that's actually kind of the sweet spot where it's not perfect because it's a little bit beyond what I'm able to do perfectly or able to do consistently well, but it's also not falling apart. I really think that's the area where the growth happens. But I also think that, sitting there and trying to play a steady beat is also where the growth happens. I think growth happens in both places. It's just different types of growth. It's growth towards two different things. And I think those two things actually complement each other. I think that the sitting there and playing that steady beat is part of the puzzle that's going to allow me to get these things cleaner and more in tempo. But also, if I'm not trying these things, every time I try it is one time closer to getting it right as well. So like I think doing both is really important. And then the last one that we're gonna read here is just Much Better Bro. This is from Ramzan Javargis again, 2 weeks ago on 189, day 189. Hit me with your best shot. Yeah, that particular song just went really well that day. At least portions of it did, and it was really fun to play. So, yeah, we'll stop there. There's so many interesting comments here. Like Jesus is Lord. I know this for a fact. Keep up drumming, bro. 2 question marks and nothing else. Same person who said much better, bro. Around the exact same time said too much at one time. Steady is the key. So, a lot of comments sometimes are incongruous with each other, or sometimes they're responding to different little moments of my playing, and some of those moments are better than others, which is, I think, why it's important to take the process as a whole and not make too much of the individual moments within it. Progress doesn't happen in a straight line, but the point is that even this is progress. So anyways, thank you for watching this super long video. Hope you have a great day and see you later.